The Bitchings of Victorian Women. These are real articles, advice columns, letters to the editor, and other selected writings from ladies' magazines published in the 1800s. Today we feature the latest gossip from Paris, as bitched about in the August 1864 issue of Godey's Ladies' Book and Magazine.
A man brought a few days since to trial in France for the murder of his wife and mother-in-law put in quite a new plea. "Remember, les jours," said the man who defended himself, "that I am 50 years old, was married very early, and my wife's mother has never left us, and yet I have never done this before." The circumstances were not considered sufficiently extenuating, and the jury found the prisoner guilty.
M.H. de Pernay, in his Chronique in the France, announces that among the fashions to be adopted by the fair sex in Paris during the coming season is that of the feminine whiskers. "The little tuft," says the writer, "which starts from the root of the hair at the side and which formed the little curl known as an accroche-coeur, is now to fall straight down the cheek in a thick mass."
At a masked ball in Paris, the most striking of the dresses worn by the ladies was that of the Duchess de Morny, as an English lady of the last century, and the Princess Anna Murat as a peacock, her train being of white tulle covered with peacock's eyes, her petticoat of yellow satin, peacock's feathers in her breast and in her hair. Her ornaments were a band of magnificent emeralds and diamonds, worn from one shoulder to the waist as Queen Victoria wears her royal ribbon, a necklace of the same, and the aigrettes of peacock's plumes in her head confined by an immense brooch. The princess is said to be frequently bedecked with the empress's jewels. She is the only lady of the court on terms of absolute intimacy with Her Majesty, whom she always addresses as my aunt. The Princess Trubetsky was dressed as a cat, cat's head upon her bosom and sleeves and in her hair. Another lady as an aviary, with a lace dress covered with birds in real feathers. Her headdress consisted of a bird cage, nearly 6 inches square, with another perched upon her head. The bosom of her dress was covered with red berries, birds nestled upon her shoulders, and another wicker cage hung from her side in which were several canaries. One lady represented photography, small photographic cards forming the trimming of her berth. Larger-sized ones formed the basque, still larger the trimming of the skirt, which was of white satin. The necklace was composed of very small pictures set in gold, and the earring of likenesses of her hostess, the Duchess de Morny, also set in gold. The headdress completed the eccentricity of this costume. It consisted of a camera, the front of which was a mirror instead of the ordinary glass. One of the most elegant dresses was worn by a very beautiful Englishwoman, very tall and well-formed. She called herself Roma. Her dress was of black velvet. Upon the train was embroidered the wolf with Romulus and Remus. Her hair fell in waves to her waist, and upon her head she wore a turret-like diamond of gold. A belt was embroidered in gold with the name she had chosen. Another extremely pretty costume was that worn by Madame de Girardin as Snow. The dress was formed of tulle covered with swan's down in flakes. A mantle close around her throat, trimmed in the same way, fell to her feet. The hair was powdered and glistened with diamonds. A man advertises in the Petites Affiches, France, thus: "A widower desires to meet with a young woman who has been reared in the school of adversity. He asks no other dowry than an expressive physiognomy and an imperturbable character. An entire ignorance of the piano preferred. No lady of literary tastes or English parentage need apply."
Some of our young literary men and artists, who at present are richer in hope than in fame or fortune, gave a few evenings since a performance of Macbeth in a studio in the Rue d'Assas. The ticket of invitation they issued was in these words: Monsieur and Madame Macbeth have the honour to inform you of the painful bereavement they have met in the departure from this life of their trusty lord and cousin, Monsieur Duncan. You are respectfully requested to honour with your company the last honours they pay their deceased lord and cousin, in which they will be effectually aided by Monsieur Macduff. N.B. Please bring a sperm candle in your pocket, as the family, being in mourning, are very short of light articles. Ridiculous as this ticket of invitation is, the Thespians acted Shakespeare's play admirably. Talk of the impudence of your New York servants, but beat the following who can. Indeed, nothing short of a sojourn in our Western world of a few months can give anyone the slightest idea of the height to which their demands sometimes attain. Some 3 weeks ago, my maid of all work took it into her head to leave my employment very suddenly. On being asked the reason, she replied that she never had lived any place where she could not have the front parlour in which to entertain her company, and she never intended to, so she didn't. Her very reasonable demands not being complied with, she marched herself off, bag and baggage, leaving me servantless for the time being, HMD. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel. Until the next video, I bid you good day.